Hey everybody, welcome back to Shock and Shock. I'm your host, Josh Gillis, and this is the third time I've tried reviewing this video because I keep finding myself going to spoilers. Anyway, today is day 8 of the 31 Days of Horror on day 9, and as the title suggested, I am reviewing the new Saw film. Now, I've been a fan of Saw for over a decade. Being 25, I want to say beforehand that I was not, like, there for, the older Saw movies, like to watch in theaters and stuff. But I've been a fan since I was a teenager. Um, seen them all multiple times, other than Spiral, which I'll talk about in a second. Um, but anyway, if you hear stuff in the wall, it literally is because there's stuff in the wall. I live in a repurposed barn, and we have had a mice problem. So yeah, if you hear that, it adds to the Halloween spirit, I suppose. But anyway, Saw X 2023, directed by Kevin Grutter, 10th movie in the series. I'm a big fan of the first three. I think the first one's a classic. The first two sequels are both really good. 4 through 7, mixed bag of quality to say the least, but I find them entertaining. Jigsaw was okay. And Spiral, I absolutely hated. After Jigsaw, I was hoping for a rebirth of some sorts, get a new storyline, and we got that. And in my opinion, really did not pay off. I hated that movie a lot. But this isn't a review of Spiral, but I just want to say that because I went into Saw 10 really apprehensive to say the least. Like another one after Spiral. I was worried that we were going Jigsaw, Spiral, 7, Jigsaw, Spiral, it just, yeah. But Saw X, way up. Um, this is by far the best sequel in the series, in my opinion. It's the closest that I've seen to one getting to the first one, and I'm thinking a lot of people are going to enjoy this more than the first one. I think you know, the acting quality is at least better. um, but anyway, I don't want to give spoilers. I may give in little, not clues, but minuscule parts of traps without completely spoiling them. But if you want to avoid that, it's fine if you skip this video, of course. Um, and I don't want to spoil the plot because this is weirdly enough probably the most plot-driven Saw movie. And I would say a good 50% of this movie is actually, or at least 40%, 40% of this movie is more just focus on John Kramer, um, which is a welcome change. So anyway, this film, we know that it takes place between part 1 and 2. I want to say that as well. Um, but you can watch this without really having seen those. You're just going to not have the full impact of a couple of moments. But anyway, John Kramer, Jigsaw, has brain cancer. He is searching for everything, um, to fix this, and he, I'm trying to keep this brief, he goes to a meeting with a group of cancer patients that are in this support group, meets one that says they knows of a controversial new cancer treatment. It takes place in Norway, and it worked for him. And he was stage 4, and he's in remission. So John, of course, is well, excellent. Um, Gets in contact with those people. Yada yada yada. They have to go to Mexico, because there's an issue in Norway where they can't do it. And he goes to Mexico for this treatment. Finds out it is a scam, and they did nothing. So he takes, revenge on these people that have been defrauding cancer patients and dying people out of millions of dollars. And yeah, that kind of provides the basis of this film in a very simplistic way. But yeah. Anyway, first off, I want to say, Tobin Bell, top notch. He was always the scene stealer of the series. I mean, you never get as much screen time with him as you would like in the Saw series because It's more focused on the traps and the people in the games that he created rather than him. This flips it. John is the protagonist of this film. Um, so we follow him the entire time. And damn, Tobin Bell is great. It's a shock that it took this long to have the person that has consistently been like a fan favorite. Obviously, he's the head honcho, but like the person that steals all the scenes in every film that he's in finally gets a movie where he is the prime focus of the story. And guess what? It turned out fantastic. Um, the story in this is actually genuinely well written. Tobin Bell delivers a great performance. And Amanda, Shawnee Smith, comes back once again as Jigsaw's apprentice, but in this one she is like just starting out. So she's like, you sort of see some of the apprehension that she has with everything going on, as well as like wanting to continue the game and how she's with Jigsaw. And you know what? You might get a little glimpse of the other detective apprentice from later in the series as well. Maybe, just maybe. But yeah, story best in the series by far. Really, genuinely well told. Really appreciated the newfound focus on the story rather than traps. A good portion of this is just like about John Kramer and his cancer and like providing more of a background on why he's doing what he's doing. We get that a little bit in the series, but we get much more in this. He's a much more fleshed out character, and weirdly enough, you kind of start rooting for him in this movie because the people that he's dealing with go to like they're evil. Like sometimes in this Saw series, you get people that are like, "This man." I'm looking at you. I think it was Saw 6. I want to say Saw 5 or 6, with the breathing trap with the smoker. It's like, bruh, man was just smoking cigarettes and he gets put in a saw trap anyway. This one, the people that are in this, except for one, arguably, definitely like they're bad people, really bad people. So this one, you're definitely less concerned about the people surviving. I'll say that. Um, and you're kind of rooting for John a little bit in this one, more than the other ones. He's not like an anti-hero, he's still a villain, but you kind of understand a little bit more in this one. Um, that being said, I talked about the traps not taking as much of a center stage, but I will say that this is probably the nastiest, goriest Saw film in the franchise. Um, this one goes pretty far on several instances for like a major like blockbuster horror movie. You will see brain surgery on yourself. You will see limb removal. You will see cutting stuff out of yourself. You will see like breaking your own bones and getting melted. It gets nasty. You will see organs used as a rope, um, waterboarding with blood, stuff like that. Yeah, nasty. The saw traps, all really good though. The first one, I really there's like this isn't really a spoiler because it's literally the first scene in the movie. The saw trap on the poster turns out to be like a dream sequence, but it's also like the most underwhelming in the film. But the first real trap that John devises is like before he has prep time, and it's very like archaic and simplistic in its design, much like in Saw 4 with like the knife trap where it doesn't work, but this one works. But it's very simplistic compared to a lot of the other stuff. Like there's not like an elaborate contraption. I actually really liked that one in particular, even though it's not the most grand trap. It was certainly like interesting to see how John would do and like with the limited time to make something. Um, so that was interesting. Some of the saw traps in this are very elaborate too. There's one that has like it's almost like an Iron Maiden that looks like an Aztec mask. Whoever designed that, really cool. I get that it's in Mexico. It's a little on the nose for the area, but it is really cool looking. So yeah, saw traps are good. The cinematography in this one is actually really nice as well. I wasn't prepared for a Saw movie to look this good. Um, I like the locations, the set design, everything is like probably the best in the series. And um, this relationship between John and Amanda in this film as well, that's something I didn't touch on as much, is really interesting as well. Like almost this like father daughter dynamic. But you genuinely start caring about their relationship with each other rather than like in Saw 2 and a few of the sequels there in Saw 3. You like Amanda's a very she's not super well written in my opinion in those films. Like you get that she's an apprentice of Jigsaw and she was in the game and all this stuff, but in this one she's much more fleshed out. You get a better look, and Shawnee Smith does a great job, and this is definitely her best role in the series. Um, and we also there is a legitimately genuinely heartwarming moment in a Saw film that it still involves a trap, and it shows that John can be fair sometimes too. And yeah, I saw people crying in the theater. So yeah, great movie. Actually, I highly recommend this. Even if you're not a Saw fan, this is just a really good horror movie. Um, Really, my only issue with any of this, and this is a really big nitpick because if I thought about it a little bit more, and it still makes sense. But some of the traps, there is like a caveat where it's like even if you do the trap, there's a second part that requires time that you can't control, and it causes a couple of failures. But there was also added time in this one, like over the usual 1 minute. The minutes in this are 3, and there was a little bit of added time. So I guess that cancels each other out. But that's such a minor nitpick. The rest of this film is awesome. Definitely, I like it as much as the first one. I'm not gonna lie, and that's coming from a fan. So if you're a fan of the Saw series, you're really, really going to enjoy this. If you're not, you're still gonna enjoy this. All my friends are watching this, enjoying it. Um, and I haven't really spoken to anybody that didn't think this was like a top tier Saw film. So yeah, definitely go watch this in the theater. It is well worth your time and attention. I will certainly be picking this up when it releases as well. I mean, I own the rest of the series too. So anyway, great movie, highly recommended. That's it. I was pleasantly surprised. This is one of the best films I've seen in a while at the theater. So as always, I've been your host, Herschel Gillis, signing off for today. Zero thoughts, zero editing, zero brain cells, and zero planning. I'll see you guys tomorrow with day 9 on day 10 of the 31 Days of Horror Reviews. Keep your notifications on. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and I'll keep you updated on everything going on. See you tomorrow.